back with another episode of Brian's Black Bag. I hope you're all doing well. I'm a little tired, but we're going to grind through because that's what we do. Got my trusty sidekick, Thumper, here too. So what are we talking about today? You probably figured out how this kind of rolls. I read a blog piece and then I expand a bit on it in a video. So my latest blog piece talked about how you dip your toes into medicine if you think that's the path for you. So what exactly is the purpose of doing that? Well, first off, you need to show yourself that this is the career and the path for you, that you want to invest all this time and money and effort and stress into, because you may have an inkling for something, but you got to really figure out what it's all about by watching someone do it. And then second, it definitely builds a groundwork from which you can expand upon and really solidify various pieces of your application. More on that in a second. So where do you start? A first easy, logical starting point is volunteering in a medically oriented setting. And in doing so, the sphere of medicine is huge and there's tons of opportunities out there, but you want to ideally be in a situation in which you get to interact with, or at the very least observe, physicians, because remember, again, you're trying to figure out if this is for you, if this is what you want to do. So if you don't get to see physicians, then it kind of defeats that purpose. And as far as getting started, honestly, just go to Google and see what opportunities are near yourself. So if you are to go to the hospital website of the nearest local hospital and look at what volunteering activities they have listed, I guarantee you that you will find something. And I know this is a digital age, but you can still walk into a hospital and ask them what opportunities are available, and that'll look good on your behalf. It'll show some initiative. And at the very least, I'm sure your emergency department has volunteers that are restocking supplies, such as like blankets, giving snacks to patients, just making sure little odds and ends are like that, so the patient experience is top notch. Okay, let's say you've secured a volunteering position. Now what? It's really important to pay attention and be analytical and critical, because remember, again, you're trying to assess if medicine is for you, if this is the path you want to pursue. So pay attention to what the schedule of a physician is like, what the positives, negatives of the career are, the demeanor of the doctors, how they seem to enjoy what they're doing, the overall dynamics of the healthcare system, bigger global questions such as the positives and faults that may exist in our current healthcare system, just anything and literally everything like that. Because again, this will provide feedback as to whether or not you want to do this, but beyond that, it'll also give you a ton of fodder for your application, in which you'll have to do a ton of writing, answering questions like this, personal to you, but also on a grander, more epidemiological scale. Super easy way to not forget all these brilliant thoughts you're going to have is to just keep a journal, and just after each shift, just date it and jot down a couple things, and you will totally thank yourself for this and be very grateful later if you do end up applying to medical school, because you will have this journal full of all these wonderful ideas and stories, and you don't have to rack your brain trying to remember exactly what you learned from a particular experience or provider. So moving on with shadowing, I guess an important question is, not shadowing, with medical volunteering, an important question is it a necessary piece of the medical school application? And the short answer is yes. But the particular type that you do, in my mind, is not as important as the impact that you have. And so, I know as a volunteer, you may be thinking that you may not really have a very big impact and that your presence may not be noticed. But it's on you to really have pride in what you're doing and to really go out of your way with the mission of whatever you're doing to make the patient experience that much better, or whatever your role is in that situation. And if you have that attitude, people will notice, the patients, physicians, and just feel prideful about what you do, and you'll be truly making an impact. And again, this is the kind of thing that you can touch on. There'll be anecdotes, patients that are appreciative of your you going the extra mile. And, these are the kind of stories that I wove into various pieces of my application. So, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. So it's about your impact. So, and then as far as just checking boxes, there's no magical recipe to getting into medical school, but what is important across anything and everything you do is continuity and quality. So find something that you're passionate about. Obviously, it's medicine, but within medicine, some area, some volunteering sphere where you can really dive in and commit and feel like you're having a positive, wonderful impact. And then you don't have to fake your passion. Then you truly are passionate about it. You can really just go after it. And if that doesn't exist, then create it. I mean, how sweet would that look if you created a whole volunteering initiative in some sector of the hospital or some nonprofit, whatever it may be. And so just think about it this way. If you commit simply 3 hours a week to whatever it is you're doing over the span of a year, you'll have upwards of, just doing some simple math. You'll have upwards of like 150 hours, volunteering hours, which is a lot. And it's pretty easy to commit 3 hours a week to something, especially if it's something you're passionate about and enjoying. So continuity and quality are king throughout all elements of the medical school application process. Okay, and so backtracking now to the other way to get involved in medicine is shadowing. And so easy place to start would be with friends and family, but not everyone has those opportunities. And so even if you don't have family friends or family that are physicians or really, it can be anyone who is within the scope of medicine, because if you follow them around, they're likely going to be interacting with physicians, and you will get, some kind of inkling. You'll get to observe them in their natural habitat. And then this is where you can bust out your networking chops too. So if you're attentive, if you're asking interesting questions, if you're nice, if you're eager to learn, physicians will pick up on this, and just being introduced to them and maybe spending some time with them, with whoever your family friend may be, could lead to an experience with them. And also you can reach out to people with cold emails, cold calls, writing to their office. This kind of thing shows initiative and eagerness. And in my experience, anytime I've conveyed those things and reached out to a physician, it's always been warmly received. So if you want to shadow, don't be afraid to go out and ask for that experience. Obviously, don't be obnoxious about it, but just simply saying, I want to pursue this career. I would love to spend some time with you. What do you think? And I'm sure you will find someone who will take you under their wing. And then again, once you secure this opportunity, I think I don't need to rehash the whole positivity behind a journal, but I think having a journal to document your shadowing experience is incredibly valuable and something you'll be super happy that you did later. And then as far as if this is necessary for getting into medical school, short answer again is yes. I think 99% of applicants have this on their application, and it's hard to quantify because the length really, the degree to which schools emphasize it differs. Some just want you to convince yourself and them that this is the right path for you. Others may want a ton of hours. So this is difficult to answer. So personally, I spent about 40 to 50 hours with a single emergency room physician, and so I definitely could have had more hours. I definitely could have had a more well-rounded experience in terms of shadowing multiple providers, which is something I would recommend in hindsight. That being said, I ultimately focused on what I thought were more active things within medicine instead of passive. So shadowing and volunteering are very passive, and so in my mind, I prioritized the active things because I had a greater involvement, and I felt like my role was greater, my impact was greater, which led to, it was more satisfying personally, but also gave me more to write about and reflect upon for my application as a whole. And so I'll be diving into those bits and pieces as we move forward. All right, we're back because I totally choked on the previous ending to the video. All right, so here we go. We're going to try it one more time. So to briefly recap, to pursue medicine. It is very easy to start off with medical volunteering and shadowing, and if you are persistent, eager, likable, you will open up doors no matter what kind of boundaries or hurdles you may have in either of those two sectors, which can lead to so many more opportunities. And again, I personally prioritized the more active things over these kind of passive initial experiences, which is what we're going to be talking about in subsequent videos. So stay tuned, keep grinding. I'll see you next time. Right, Ken?